Hey everyone, it's Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, wishing you a very wonderful day wherever you are in the world, whatever it is you are doing, hoping you are safe, hoping you are well, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, where we are doing a little recipe that I shared this morning on Facebook. So if you are part of Bridget's Healthy Kitchen on Facebook, you would have seen me share this recipe, and it's for what is essentially, well, it's definitely the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had, like ever. And the fact that it's gluten-free, sugar-free, and has a dairy-free option is a little bit mind-blowing, because if you normally think about chocolate chip cookies, you know, they're full of gluten, got sugar, you know, there's lots of dairy, there's lots of fat, there's things that you wouldn't normally associate with healthy. And you definitely wouldn't normally associate chocolate chip cookies with being healthy, but I can tell you that this particular chocolate chip recipe is phenomenal. So if you haven't seen the recipe go live on Facebook this morning, I'm going to get Mahei right now to share the link for that recipe that we shared this morning, so you can request the recipe, so you can print it off. It's in PDF form. I'm going to get Mahei to share that link with you guys now. But it is one of those fabulous recipes that is like, are you sure this is healthy? Because it tastes pretty good, and it looks like a big... Anyone in New Zealand, you guys know the Cookie Time cookies? This is kind of what it looks like. I make a cookie about that big, like seriously, that, like, half the size of my face. It's about that big. Make a huge cookie, and I take out the gluten, and I take out the sugar, and I take out the dairy, and it's just like mind blowing. It's also grain free as well, so there's no rice flour or anything like that in there. Hello to Lisa for joining us this morning. Well, it's not this morning, it's actually this afternoon. We had our clocks go back an hour. I'm still a little bit mixed up today, but I just know that I'm pretty sure it's the afternoon. All right. Let's get into the recipe. It is simple to make. You don't even need any bits of equipment. You need one of these, basically. You need a bowl and a little bit of, not that much strength, but a little bit of strength. Come on down to my bench. Let's get into the recipe right now. First thing I want to let you guys know is you see the oven behind me? I have that currently set on 170 degrees Celsius, which is 320 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the first thing. Make sure your oven is set, because we need to preheat our oven, because these are going to be baked in the oven. There's a cookie, of course it is. Right, so I've got myself up a bowl, which is perfect. The first thing I want to do is I want to add in the good healthy fat that goes into our little cookie here. And the healthy fat that I'm using today is coconut oil. So I want my coconut oil to not be liquid. I want it to still have a little bit of firmness to it, not much. It doesn't have to be completely solid. If it is, let it melt a little bit of firmness. And I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of of semi-hard coconut oil goes in there. So you don't want it, like I said, you don't want it too hard. You don't want it, if you're in winter where you are now, it's a cold environment, and your coconut is really rock solid, allow that to very gently melt just in the microwave, just for maybe 5 seconds, just so you can actually mix it through. That's all we're trying to do. So coconut oil, 2 tablespoons. You can also use a very good quality grass-fed butter here as well, soft, not melted. That goes in first. The next thing I'm going to use, now this here, yes, I know it's backward. It says Sukrin, S-U-K-R-I-N. Sukrin Gold. This is a brown sugar alternative, and chocolate chip cookies need to be made with brown sugar. That caramelized flavor you get in brown sugar is perfect, but of course this needs to be sugar free, hence why I use Sukrin Gold. Now this sugar and hyphens there, because it's actually not sugar, so it's one of those absolutely low calorie, doesn't spike your blood glucose, doesn't spike your insulin levels, so it's perfect for diabetics or anyone who's watching their weight. This Sukrin you can purchase in Australia. There is a company, or if you just Google Sukrin, S-U-K-R-I-N, you can purchase this. I haven't seen a brown sugar available, like a brown sugar substitute available in the supermarkets. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. Let us know if you've found an alternative to brown sugar, a sugar-free alternative. The only ones that I know at the moment are these guys, Sukrin, that are doing it. And it is, I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like brown sugar. Check it out. So this is a sugar substitute, but it has that caramelization going on there, which is what we need when it comes to making these cookies. So we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of our brown sugar substitute. It just looks like brown sugar, right? It totally does. And you can replace this particular brand, Circle Gold, you can replace it 1-to-1 with sugar. So that's going to go in first. Just also, if you can't get hold of that brown sugar, the other thing you can use, which is what this is made out of anyway, is a sweetener called erythritol. I'm going to spell it for you now. In fact, if Mahei could maybe throw up a link so people know how it's spelt. erythritol. Erythritol is the type of sugar you can also use, which I know is readily available in the supermarkets if you can't get the brown sugar. If you can get this, you're doing a lot better when it comes to these cookies. So 2 tablespoons of that goes in. I'm also going to add in a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. And we want for this 1 tablespoon. You can also use avocado oil if you have some. That goes in. This recipe is simple, guys. Remember that. Simple, simple, simple. Now you cannot make chocolate chip cookies without vanilla extract. You've got to have vanilla. So we're going to add in a teaspoon, which is about that, of vanilla extract goes in there as well. And then taking up a whisk, really important at this stage, you need to have a whisk. We're just going to mix that through. And what I'm going to attempt to do for you guys here today is I'm going to attempt to whisk this up until it's nice and light and fluffy. Back in the old days, you guys may remember, back in the old days, we used to do this with sugar and butter, right? Literally, you're creaming the butter and the sugar, except there's no butter and it's coconut oil, and the sugar is a sugar substitute. Oh my goodness, I remember the days of melting butter in the sink in a bowl. I used to put the butter in the bowl. We didn't have microwaves. Oh my gosh, I'm showing my age. We didn't have a microwave. So I used to put the butter into a bowl like this, and then I would rest the bowl in the sink of hot water coming up to here to help to melt the butter or get it soft. And then the sugar would go in, and I would beat like mad. Not normally with a whisk, I would actually use a wooden spoon, and I would beat like mad, because what we're oops, made a bit of a mess. What we're attempting to do is add a little bit of air into this mixture, which is going to help it to change color, which it already is, and become quite light and fluffy. And we are also dissolving the sugar substitute, the Circle, we're dissolving that as well in the fats that we've put in. So the concept is completely the same, we've just made it healthy. I've got a question. Yes, Mahi?
Becky's asked, can you use coconut sugar?
Can you use coconut sugar in this recipe? No, Betty, you cannot use coconut sugar, because coconut sugar is basically sugar. I know it says it's made from coconuts, but they will have the same effect as white sugar, refined sugar, honey and maple on your body. It will spike your insulin levels, it will spike your blood glucose. Coconut sugar is not healthy, despite what we have been led to believe by food manufacturers. Coconut sugar is just another type of sugar. So no, I would never recommend using coconut sugar in this recipe, because you're basically just adding sugar. You might as well just add white sugar, to be completely honest with you. So great question, Betty, because I know it's one that I get asked often of whether coconut sugar is healthy. It's not healthy. It is another type of sugar, and it's the thing about sugars, it's what it does to your body once it gets in there. And if you are diabetic, type 1, type 2, if you are pre-diabetic, if you are wanting to watch your weight, if you're wanting to rid your body of things that give you brain fog and things that keep you addicted to a sweetener, coconut sugar is one of those things that you need to avoid. Just like brown sugar, normal brown sugar, white sugar, raw sugar, cane sugar, organic cane sugar, they're all just sugars. All fancy names for sugars. Alright, so what I have now, I'm pretty happy with that. I know it's a bit of work, but not too much. We're used to creaming stuff if you're going old school like me. You can do this with a whisk, a handheld whisk as well, which will be a lot faster and less less hard work. But the fact is you can do it just with a whisk. The colour's changed, it's gotten a little bit lighter. I've added a little bit of air to it, which is important. The next thing I'm going to break in is 1 egg, goes into the mix. And as well as that 1 egg, I'm going to add, I suppose, what we would call the flour version, the flour part of this dish. I've just put my scales on there. And what we're going to do is I'm adding almond flour to this here. If you want to do a nut-free version, you absolutely can. And instead of almond flour, you could add like sunflower seed flour, which would work as well. It'll be a bit of an unusual taste, I have to say. Almond flour is definitely one of the flours that gives it a good taste. But just in case you are nut-free, you can go for a sunflower flour. All right, so we're doing 100 grams. 100 grams of our almond flour or almond meal. Same, only different, right? Whoops. All right, here we go. 100 grams goes in. That's about 3.5 ounces of that goes in. As well as that, I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Salt helps to balance out the flavors, just that little pinch. I'm going to also add in half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda or baking soda. Goes in there as well. That's going to give it a little bit of a lift. And then I'm going to get my whisk out again. Don't need that. And just bring it together. And the consistency that you're looking for here, it thickens up instantly, yeah? That's the consistency you're looking for. Now this is going to make 2 huge cookies, by the way. This is enough mixture to make 2 huge, half your face size cookies, depending on the size of your face. But it'll make 2 my face size cookies. All right, so that is looking exactly how it's supposed to look. Keep whacking, you don't want to waste any of the goodness. The only other thing that we need to add to this to make it spectacular, and trust me, it is spectacular. And don't forget as well, if you haven't already heard about our quarantine baking competition, it's called the Quarantine Bake Off. It's over on our private page. I'm just going to the fridge. It's over on our private page, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family. Join the group and you can join in the Quarantine Bake Off competition. You could make these for the Bake Off competition. You could totally make these. You can make anything you want from one of my recipes. Post an image of your baking and you can go into the draw to win a personally signed cookbook of your choosing, one of mine, that we will send out to you wherever you are in the world. If you've already got one, we'll send it out to whoever you tell us to send it out to. So the last thing I'm going to add is actually my chocolate portion, the chips part. Now I'm using chocolate that I have created, which you can. You can also use like pre-bought, dairy-free, sugar-free chocolate chips. I know my chocolate is sugar-free, dairy-free because I made it myself, and I like mine in really big chunks. For anyone who understands cookie time, who's ever had a New Zealand cookie time, you know that chocolate chips are in really big chunks. So you only want to add 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips or chocolate chunks. 2 tablespoons, yeah? Trust me, don't add more than that because I'll show you in a second what happens when you add more chocolate chips than you should in the recipe. Give that a bit of a stir. That is the recipe done. That's all there is to it. That's it. You're done. You're finished. It's amazing, right? You just have to bake it. Baking is simple. What you could do is get a piece of parchment or baking paper, put it onto a baking tray, half that mixture into 2 rounds, like not perfect rounds, just 2 rounds, and you will get 2 chocolate chip cookies, huge ones, right? But what I have here, and this is only I think this is the chef and me talking now, so you may not have these, but I have these really cool, look at that, little individual, these are actually for making really, really small pancakes, would you believe? But they're non-stick, which is really cool. And they're able to go in the oven. So I'm going to be using these to mold and to shape my cookies. I've got a question. Yes, Mahi?
Question from Christine. Would monk fruit gold in there?
Would monk fruit gold work? Yes, that's another type of sweetener that you may find in the supermarket, guys. Monk fruit gold instead of the Sirkin. 100%. And thank you for sharing. I did not know that monk fruit sweetener had a gold version. It will totally work. Totally. So what you want to do now is just evenly spread these out. Like just imagine I'm doing this on a roasting tray with baking powder. You don't have to be perfect here, but let's just say you get 2 heaped tablespoons per cookie is a great way to sort of measure it out. And then you just flatten it a little bit. Remember, just pretend I'm on a baking tray. Flatten it a little bit. As even as possible. Clean fingers. Give it a bit of a scrape. you don't have to completely, like I said, flatten it, because it will start to, it will spread on cooking. So leave, if you're doing it on a baking sheet, leave those cookies well spread out, because it will spread as it bakes, and you don't want them to spread together. Scrape your bowl, don't waste any of that beautiful mixture. And now that goes into the oven for about 18 to 20 minutes. That's all it needs, 170 degrees, remember preheated. I'm gonna pop over to the oven now. 18 to 20 minutes and your cookies are done. Of course I prepared some earlier, just in case, you know, I thought you'd like to see the finished product. Are you ready? It's very exciting. Very exciting. All right. So here I have a pretty good cookie. In saying that, I added twice the amount of chocolate, and look what happened. I got chocolate melts over there, but that's okay. It's not a problem. Let me get my... I added more chocolate, but you know, so instead of 2 tablespoons, I think I added 5. I'm like, it's sugar-free, it's good for me, right? So I did add a bit too much chocolate. But even still, check out my cookie. Half the size of my face, right? Do you reckon? It's pretty good, right? So there you go. How easy is that? 18 minutes later, you will have a cookie that looks like this. Okay, yes, I know there's way too much chocolate. There's way too much chocolate. Unless you really like chocolate, then you could totally do it. Especially if it's sugar-free and it's dairy-free. You could add more chocolate there. So that is it in a nutshell. Super simple to make. Do not forget, if you want to get the recipe, I shared this just this morning. And it's going crazy. I think it's already had like 650 requests for the recipe in a couple of hours. But make sure to join our quarantine bake-off, which is happening right now for the rest of the week over on Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family, which is our private group. You can join the competition. You could win a signed one of my books, signed of your choice, delivered anywhere in the world to you or to your friend or your family member or someone you love. Just by joining, take a photo of something you've baked, share that photo in our private group, hashtag quarantine bake off, and you win the draw. We're going to be drawing the competition next Friday during our Q&A session. So thank you for watching today. I've got some cookies to eat, so I need to go. I've got people surrounding me wanting to eat these cookies as well. Isn't it amazing? We can still bake and we can still enjoy something like that. That's really, really good for our gut health. All right, guys, thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous, oh, I've got cookies in my hand now. Fabulous weekend. Stay safe, stay well, and please remember, keep calm and keep cooking. Love you.